I come from a home with that's always been poor, has never been financially stable. I have family members who have been drug addicts, alcoholics. An older brother who, when we used to live in New York, got himself 12 court cases in 1 year. Divorced parents that haven't been together for about 10 years now. I was basically set up to be another statistics of Hispanic families. I was told that I wouldn't amount to anything, that I grew up, being part of gangs, using alcohol, using drugs. And it wasn't until a light called HPSS that was able to help me and my family out and able to make a difference in my life. It was a family shelter that my mother and my sister got into after my father left my mom, and after my own grandma actually kicked my mom out of the house. Right after we got into the supportive housing is when my life pretty much began to change. Through the same supportive housing, I was able to attend a private high school in which I was valedictorian in. I'm now a sophomore at North Park University, working on my degree in exercise science and physical therapy, doctorate program. I'm here as a testimony to show what supportive housing could do in somebody's life.
Yeah. What do we want? Affordable housing. When do we want it? Now. What do we want?
Supportive housing is affordable, permanent housing with supportive services on site.
Housing is what I think is the biggest issue in the community that we have to deal with.
If you're having a hard time affording your housing, you're not alone. There are so many families out there. It's a public issue.
Too much construction, too much housing is being built, and it sets in motion a whole process that gets manifested in central city neighborhoods as gentrification.
I feel like people are getting kicked out of their homes, white people are coming in, and Latinos and African Americans can't afford, rent, and then, yeah.
I don't think it's so simple to just say that it's yuppies. It's about banks. It's about developers. It's about government. It's about racism. And that's not just the fault of yuppies. We're all part of that.
Yeah, I think definitely gentrification is a horrible thing, and it's disgraceful.
Are you with it or you're against it?
What, gentrification?
Yeah.
I'm against it.
If housing keeps getting more and more expensive and gentrification continues, the community as we know it won't be here. The buildings may still be here, but the people who live here won't.
The Department of Housing and Urban Development.
That's the agency in the government that oversees housing.
Because of poor financial planning, is facing a $2.2 billion shortfall.
Who's talking about that? Do you hear the presidential candidates talking about that?
There's no way we're going to get what we need unless we make our voices heard.
Shame on race! Shame on race! Shame on race!
You're not going to find that many aldermen that are going to say, I'm committed to doing supportive housing. So, I'm a little insulted that I got a bunch of people protesting when, I'm your friend and I'm getting this shame on Ray thing.
I think at some point people have to stand up and make it stop. Otherwise, no one will be able to afford to live anywhere.
Supportive housing is our opportunity to not just remember our neighbors who are facing complicated situations, but provide them with a permanent place in our community.
Every human being has the right to have a roof and also decide where to live, where they want to move, where they want to stay. That's the only my motivation. It's simple.
I do believe that we will overcome.
I think that Logan Square is a great community because of the diversity of the community.
All cultural backgrounds to religious backgrounds to financial backgrounds living here in Logan Square, and I think that makes it quite unique.
The best thing is the people who live here.
It's really friendly. I like that there's a lot of families.
There's a lot of energy in the community.
It's a community that's grounded. It's like a real world community where people are concerned about each other, they try to help each other.
I love the fact that I can come here and feel at ease and feel comfortable and not worry about I'm not like that person next door, or I don't have as much as that person behind me,
and live here in peace. And that's what it's all about when we're talking about community.
It's nice that there's like places to work and shop around here, so you don't need to travel too far. Once you're in Logan Square, you can stay here and get everything you need.
We're 20 minutes from downtown by train. You know, there's so many places where you can get, you know, we're not in some far-flung corner of the city.
I think the best thing about our community is the large number of leaders we have here.
There are a lot of different people who are willing and excited to get involved.
I think it's really cool that all these different parents and community leaders can get together and work on common goals, and you don't really see that in a lot of communities.
I grew up in this community in Logan Square, and when I was younger, the neighborhood was really, you know, I was the only white person basically. There was a lot of Puerto Rican and Mexican folks and their families that lived in the community, and about 10 years ago, the neighborhood started changing, and a lot of my friends had to leave. And I was, you know, I was young. I was going to college and coming back, and I didn't recognize the neighborhood anymore. And so that was probably the first time I realized that, wow, this is gentrification. But I definitely am part of that now because I'm white and middle class, and I live in the community still, and so sometimes it's hard to figure out where I fit and everything because this is my home. This is the only community I've ever lived in, and now it's changing.
I've actually lived in this neighborhood for the last 20 years of my life, so I've been here for a while, and I have seen the people that have been here and struggled to stay here, and I've seen people that have come in and the changes that have happened to the people that are already here.
New people come to Logan Square because they like that it's diverse, and people who live here, I think to a certain extent, like the mix of people that are here, but if things keep getting more expensive, then, you know, we'll lose that.
Developers are trying to push their way in this community and sometimes even rename this community. You know, at the east end of Logan Square, some developers will advertise their properties, but they don't say it's in Logan Square, they say it's in West Bugtown. So they actually are renaming the community, trying to capitalize on a name that they think will be more attractive.
I moved here in 1979 because there was affordable housing, and I know how rare that is today.
A lot of what makes our community so rich is really being threatened by the process of what we call gentrification.
Our hood, Chicago, is absolutely beautiful to me.
The community is made of the people that live in it.
We got a lot of different races that all get along.
Public transportation is available nearby.
Our community is very peaceful. Parts of it are beautiful.
My community is awesome.
Welcome to our hood.
Gentrification is a process of
changing neighborhoods.
Changing communities based on income, spreading and redefining the different neighborhoods.
Houses that are like getting like remodeled, and people that used to live there will like get kicked out or whatever.
When housing gets too expensive for the people currently living there.
The people who have lived there and called it their home
basically evacuates the whole neighborhood.
Forced to maybe move further away from their family and their friends and their jobs.
What do you think causes gentrification?
Money.
Gentrification is
displacement of poor people.
Moving out the low-income peoples
into more marginal neighborhoods.
Not affordable housing.
Due to rising real estate prices, or the neighborhood is quote-unquote improved.